Wow, wow, wow. The hype around these moon swatches has been absolutely bonkers. I've never seen anything like it, and I think a lot of people who have even been in the watch industry and watch enthusiasts for a long time haven't seen anything like this either. I'm kind of getting sick of seeing all these videos about this release from Omega and Swatch, and yet here I am making another video on this very topic. Swatch themselves didn't even realize or foresee the crazy demand that this release was going to garner all around the world, and that's why I kind of called it the Swatch botch, because I really feel like they dropped the ball on the physical release of these watches back on March 26th. I was one of the crazy ones who went out to try and wait in line to buy one of these watches at the King of Prussia Mall here in Pennsylvania. Me and my friend Average Joe and a buddy of his went. If you didn't see my video about that, you can check that out here for all of the details. But long story short, we did not end up getting a watch that night. Now, am I disappointed about that? Not in the very least. I'm actually not going to be buying one of these watches once they're available online, and in this video I want to tell you why. So Josh, you went before midnight the day before to wait in line all night to try and buy a MoonSwatch. Yes, and now you're telling me that once they're available online from Swatch and you can simply click to purchase one, you're not going to do it? Yep, that's right. Are you feeling okay? That doesn't seem to make sense. So let me explain. It's really quite simple. I don't really like the watches. Now don't get me wrong, I think this release is pretty cool, and in the end I think it's going to be a huge success for Swatch. And if you like this release or like a certain watch in this release, that's great. I'm all for you liking it, and I think that's great. But for me personally, I'm truly not into the watches themselves, and here in a moment I'll share some reasons why. But before we get into those reasons, some might be wondering, Josh, why were you going to wait in line all night for a watch that you don't even like? Are you one of those dirty flippers? Well, let me tell you why I went. There's a few reasons. First of all, the main reason that I went was for adventure and for the excitement of trying to get a super hyped watch that everyone was talking about. And included in this aspect was the idea of companionship as well in this adventure with my good buddy Average Joe, and just having the opportunity to hang out with him in this particular situation. I thought that would be a lot of fun. Speaking of Average Joe, we did a lot of talking and planning before we actually decided to go through with this and try and get there the night before to wait in line, and he can personally tell you about my hesitancy to even do this in the first place, and he can tell you about my real lack of interest in the watches themselves. A second reason I ended up going is because I have this channel and I thought I could get some good content. I thought I could get a good video, a fun video of waiting in line and getting that whole experience of trying to buy the watches themselves. And then of course, once I had the watches, I thought I could make at least 1 or 2 videos reviewing the watches themselves. A final reason that I went is because I thought I could make a little money off of these watches. You are a dirty flipper. Unsubscribe. I have to be honest about this, seeing as I wasn't really into the watches, I felt like after I was done with them and done making videos with them, I might be able to make a little profit on them. Now, I wasn't going to put them up on eBay with a starting price of over $1,000 or anything like that. No, I was probably going to put them up for a little bit over retail, maybe say $300, and start the bidding there and just leave it open-ended and let people bid it out as much as they wanted or as much as they didn't want to, and whoever was interested and whoever had the highest bid at the end of the time frame could buy the watch. So I wasn't going to try, like some people, to put it at these super astronomical prices from the get-go, but I was just going to let people bid it out and see if I could make a few bucks. By the way, I have absolutely no problem with people flipping watches. What I think is outrageous are the buyers who are willing to pay thousands of dollars for a non-limited plastic quartz watch. Now that is what is really outrageous. If there were no buyers, there would be no flippers. As you know, we didn't end up getting any watches that night. We actually left the mall shortly after we arrived, but even though that is the case, we had a great time afterward. We hung out, we went to this nice little restaurant locally, and had a good time together anyway. So real quick, why won't I be buying one of these MoonSwatches online once they become available? Why don't I personally like them? So there's a few reasons here, and it won't take too long to really go through these. Most of these are kind of subjective and based upon my own personal opinions of things. The first one is that I feel like this release is a little bit gimmicky. I don't feel like these watches fit what the brand Omega actually is and what it stands for. I definitely think these watches fit what Swatch does and the types of watches that they make. But as far as what Omega does on a regular basis and throughout their history, it just doesn't feel like it fits the Omega brand, in my personal opinion. Another reason I'm not really drawn to this release is because of the plastic case, bioceramic as they're calling it, and the plastic acrylic crystal that is on these watches as well. Now, I'm not personally against plastic watches. I have a number of them. I think they're all Casios. Casio knows how to make a plastic watch, by the way. But having an Omega Speedmaster case made out of plastic, I feel like it's just out of place. I don't feel like those two things go together. There's a lot of people who do and have no problem with that, and that's great. But for me, it just doesn't work. The third reason I won't be buying one of these MoonSwatches might sound a little strange. It's because of the hype that is surrounding them. It's crazy to see how much we've been talking about these plastic watches from Omega and Swatch. It seems like everybody has made a video on them, and I'm all for that. I have nothing against that. But for some reason, I don't know why, it's kind of hard to explain, but that hype kind of turns me off. And as the days have gone by and we've seen that hype even foment even more and explode as we've seen it explode, I've become even more disinterested in this MoonSwatch. Personally, I'm not one that has to have the latest and greatest and hottest things that are out there. I really like the lesser known things, the under the radar things in general, and that includes watches as well, for the most part. So these are my reasons why I won't be buying the MoonSwatch even when it becomes available online. What do you think about my reasons? Share all your opinions about them down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you're planning to buy this MoonSwatch and the reasons why you plan to do so. And let me know if you're not planning to buy it and tell me the reasons why you're not going to. I'd love to interact with you down there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please help us out. Hit the like button on this video. We really appreciate it very much. That goes a long way. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for stopping by to the Town Watch. We'll see you next time.